Right. So what I've set up here is, what I'm doing here is the issue here, because I'm following the flat earth thing and Will's final experiment and stuff like that. There's quite a lot of media exposure about that, which is actually really good. I mean, the guy is basically trying to prove science, and this is a young earth creationist who's trying to prove science, which is interesting in its own right. Because flat earthers are coming from the point of religion. That's what they're actually doing. This isn't about science for them, it's about religion. They have a model which is based on their interpretation of the Bible's teachings. Okay? And I'm a Christian myself. I can read a Bible. I've actually inspected the main issue with them. I mean, they're talking about domes and firmaments, right? But I've taken the trouble to actually read the original Hebrew words that were written by the authors of the Bible, because it wasn't written in 16th century English, right? As a lot of people, for some reason, think, and I know why. It's because the most prolific Bible is the King James Bible, which was written in the 16th century in English-speaking world, and even some they still use that as like a translate. They don't go to the original Hebrew text and then retranslate it. A lot of them don't anyway. They just learn English and then they read the English one. So as a result, we have people who are English speaking. We're talking about Americans, people from South Africa, people from Australia. Yeah, I don't know how many flat earthers are actually in Australia, because that could be an issue for them. Unless they center the world around the South Pole or something. So these people are in the English-speaking world, basically, aren't they? Let's get it right. And they are interpreting the Bible, and specifically certain verses in the Bible, to say that God says that the earth is flat. Therefore, I don't believe any arguments about globe earth, because I've got the actual reference from the creator of this environment. Okay? And that creator says this is how it is. Now, so it doesn't matter what you say, I've got the author of the environment, I've got the creator of the environment and the book that he's written, sort of thing. So I get the arguments, right? Because this isn't anything to do with science. That's the reason why they're saying, making stuff up about NASA, and they're really elaborate conspiracy theories, because they believe that the creator of this world that we're living in right now has written a book, right? And that book says that the earth is flat. So therefore it doesn't matter what anybody else says, okay? Because we have it from the guy who did it, sort of thing, right? And so it doesn't matter, you can put as much science as you want. You can even take people, as Will did, take people to Antarctica to watch a 24-hour sun, and they'll still say, yeah, I can see how it could be fake though. You know what I mean? There's a book here, it says how it's done. So it doesn't matter what it is, NASA's faked it or something like that. They make up elaborate conspiracy theories, but the reason why is because they are focused on the Bible saying that the earth is flat, and they got various texts in there. But what they're missing out, you see, this is where they're being selective, okay? They are seeing these texts in the Bible, okay? And there are prophets in the Bible, right? Isaiah, one of the things that he wrote, apparently, according to flat earthers, is a declaration that the earth is actually flat. He doesn't use the word flat. There's another video about that. He uses the word which we would today interpret as round, right? Which means it could be spherical, okay? Orange is a round, yeah? So it's not. The scribes in the 16th century interpreted that word as circle, okay? And so they put, because at the time, I believe that was the common translation, right? It wasn't the exact translation, it was just a common translation. There were various, which did include sphere, actually. If we were, and people do inspect that text today, they go to the original, as I did, went to the original Hebrew and looked at the words that were used in that sentence, right? Now, I'm not a scribe, I'm not a professional translator or anything like that, but I can see with my own eyes the word that was written by Isaiah. I presume it was written, actually, I don't know if it was written by Isaiah or if it was like that he spoke, and then at some point later, these things were written down. But I'm going to make the assumption that he wrote those words, right? And from the atheist point of view, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how, what inspired Isaiah to write the words. The point I'm making is that here we have a guy who wrote words into a book. Okay, so he's the one that's actually writing the words, so we need to refer to his original interpretation, his original writing, not some retranslation. Okay, and you can retranslate that into different words, but generally speaking, the word is round that he wrote in Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 40:22 or something, right? So if you treat it as a historical document, right, then the interpretation of that is ambiguous. But it does really say round. But if you actually put the word round into the sentence that he puts, it doesn't make sense. It's, I can't remember the quote exactly, but it's something like God kind of presides over the round of the earth. And that doesn't make sense. So that's why they put circle in there, you see. And so, there you go. But he could equally put the word sphere in there. So you could say God presides over the sphere of the earth. That would make sense. But they didn't use those terms, you see, in the 16th century. No. So that's why it's like that. And there's loads of things like that where the translation actually does have one perspective, if you like, on the original writings of the original authors. And I'm talking about the guys who wrote the books in the first place. Yeah. I am a Christian, but I'm not talking about that, it was inspired by anything or anything like that. I'm talking about the people who put the words in the book, right? You need to look at those. And I did, and that's what I saw. Okay? And so that's what we've got, right? Now, there's other things in the Bible that talk about prophecy, okay? And it's quite explicit, and it's in there many times, okay, about prophecy, right? And the distinction, right, between the prophets that come from God and the prophets who come from the devil, right, because both sides have prophets, okay? And you can tell the difference between them, right, because the prophecies that come from God are true, okay, and the prophecies that come from the devil are false prophets, okay? These people give out false information. They're false prophets. They say things which don't come true. Okay? Now, rather specifically, we had a load of people who said that when the guys go to Antarctica, okay? Now, I'm not trying to say that, you need to believe in the faith. I'm really speaking directly to the flat earthers themselves now, okay? The ones that believe the word of God, okay? These are the people that I'm talking to right now, okay? You need to focus on what it says about false prophets. And specifically in this case, the people who went to Antarctica, right, made certain statements. They made certain claims. They made certain prophecies, okay? And they went to Antarctica and they saw what they saw, okay? And there are certain people who were right, and there are certain people who are wrong about that 24-hour sun, okay? Now, there are other experiments that some people did which weren't necessarily spoken about to the flat earthers. I mean, like they did the sunspot thing. I think they did discuss that as well. But the flat earthers didn't have an opinion about sunspots. Other experiments done by, sundials and measurement of the Earth's gravity and stuff like that, right? But the flat earthers didn't make any claims about those. So that's fine, right? So they're not prophesying what's going on about that. But the specific claim that the sun would set, right, in Antarctica, that was a specific claim made by pretty much all of the flat earthers, okay? I don't think there's a single flat earther, certainly not the ones that have YouTube channels here and have lots of followings. None of those people said, right, all of those people prophesied that the sun would set. And then they went to Antarctica, didn't they? Everybody went there, didn't they? And the sun didn't set. That's a false prophecy, right? It means the person who made that is a false prophet. So, what are you doing, guys? Guess who you're on the side of? It ain't God. So stop being false prophets and stop saying things which are not true and displaying your affinity with Satan. Okay? And it's as simple and as easy as that. Do you understand? Okay? You're a false prophet, which means you're on the side of Satan. So that book that you're reading, right, has no bearing on what you're saying. Do you understand that? Let me show you something, okay? So here we have, this is Will and his stuff. Anyway, this is Will and his stuff, and here we have, this is Steve from England. I'm from England, this is England, right? And he's saying here, right, this is that the live stream? I can't remember which one I put there first. Oh dear. Right. Okay, so down here, this is the one, right? So this is the first one where they're talking to Steve of England, right? That's the actual thumbnail just there. Let me put this up full. Alright. Right. And so what we have here... Right. There's the thumb. That's the guy, Steve. Okay. That's Steve. That's his thumbnail. So that's Steve there. Yeah, there. Okay. And obviously that's Will. And it's the thing is Will. Flat Earther Will. Flat Earther. It's getting confusing. Flat Earther will admit he's wrong if we do this in Antarctica. So what was the thing? It was about the sun, wasn't it? It was about the 24-hour sun, right? So we go to Antarctica and we see either the midnight sun or the 24-hour sun. It's the same thing, okay? Because the midnight sun is due south, right? Which means that it's not going to work in Gleason's model, okay? If you create a map where the centre of the universe, I think they're saying, the centre of the universe is the actual South Pole, then things could work, yes, as they do for the North Pole currently in the Gleason map. Okay, but the point is that this is where this guy, right, Steve here, this guy, can I actually get him up? Whatever, I'll let it load. There's Steve there, and he's on this video saying, essentially saying that he will accept, right, that he was wrong if they see a 24-hour / midnight sun. Okay? Now, that's his video there. Okay? And this is his video again here. Okay? This is Steve, the same guy. Here we are. Okay, there he is. It's loading, of course. There he is. There's Steve again there, right? And this is Will showing him, right, in the video, right, that they did see a midnight sun, a 24-hour sun, and they're asking him, okay, so you said this, and now you need to admit it, so please publicly admit it. And of course he doesn't. Okay? And he's, at the beginning of the live debate, because I was actually on this live debate, not the presenters, I was just on the chat, right? And I actually saw that at the beginning of the debate, they said a prayer, right, and I actually joined in, okay? And they were praying, you know, about the truth and stuff like that. Okay, you can watch it; it's there. Okay, and they both prayed. Okay, and then this guy here, then tended to during the course of the video, there was a flat earther that went there, Jaren. Okay, and he went to the South Pole. He went to Antarctica, and he saw the 24-hour sun. And respect to Jaren, he's now saying he was wrong about the 24-hour sun. You know, he's obviously going through a period of adjustment here, and he's having to work out how it fits into his new life now, is Jaren. That's fine. Witsit, I can't remember his first name, Andy or something like that. He went there as well. He admitted that he saw a 24-hour sun. There was no funny business. It actually was the sun. But he is making claims that like it fits into the flat earth model. Oh, it's fine, you know? But nobody's denying that they saw a 24-hour sun. And there's loads of evidence coming out where flat earthers can't deny it. Dave Weiss, who is one of the big wigs in flat earth, right? They were talking about,
how it was faked somehow, right? Green screen stuff and stuff like that. Dave Weiss, Flat Earth Dave, he said that they couldn't do it. You can't do a green screen thing. They disproved it anyway because Will took his drone and he flew it backwards about half a mile or something like that. And, obviously if it was a green screen, it would have gone into it, and it didn't. Somebody could claim clever cutting or stuff like that, but, you'd find it really difficult. But the point I'm making is these guys, right? And just to go further, so this is the, what I've done is I brought up the text. This is Bible Gateway. And like I say, I'm not making any, I'm not saying anything about, this is to the flat earthers, right? This is nothing to do with, like any external beliefs or anything like that. Flat earthers, they hold on to this because of their Christianity and their belief in the Bible. So this is what the Bible says, right? This is Matthew 7:15. I'm using the Voice translation here. Along the way, watch out for false prophets. They will come to you in sheep's clothing, but underneath that quaint and innocent wool, they are hungry wolves. There is obviously a hunger with the flat earths, isn't there? They're not quite, blasé about it. They want to force it down your throat. That's the way I see it anyway. But that's my interpretation. Might not be yours. So there we go. And then we got this one here. This one here, right, which is Romans 16:18, which I think is more telling. Okay. These kinds of people are not truly serving our Lord Jesus Christ the Anointed. They have devoted their lives to satisfying their own appetites. Okay. Wording in King James is a bit different, but it's similar. With smooth talking and well-rehearsed blessing, they lead a lot of unsuspecting people down the wrong path. I mean, there it is right there. Leading people down the wrong path. False prophecy. Do you see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica? Flat Earth says no. We go to Antarctica, we see a 24-hour sun. Right? Loads of footage and everything like that. Nobody's disputing the footage. Okay? So we do see it. So therefore, that means that these Flat Earth guys, and we're talking about the guys, the grifters, okay? These guys they're working with Satan, aren't they? They're false prophets. So they're working with Satan. They're not working with Jesus. So there you go, Flat Earthers. Now you know, okay? These guys that you are following, we're talking about Eric Dubay, we're talking about Witsit still claims it's still true, okay? Dave Weiss, Mark Sargent, all these prominent flat earthers, they are false prophets. They are deceiving you, right? It's very elaborate. They're very smooth talking. Says it in there, in Romans, it says that they will be like this. You understand? Right. But the key to it is the prophecy itself. Okay? Do they prophesy that they will see the 24-hour sun in Antarctica? No. They prophesy the opposite. They say the sun will set. They prophesied that. Okay? So there's no ambiguity in this. They made a claim. They made a prophecy. Okay? And it turned out to be false. There is no ambiguity over this. Do you understand? They are false prophets, which means everything they say is a lie. It is to deceive you, right? You go and read the Bible and interpret it for yourself, right? Don't let them do that. You go and do it yourself, okay? Don't do that, okay? When it's talking about firmament in Genesis, you can actually read the word and it has many interpretations again, one of which is expanse, okay? And I've read about, like that they're saying there's a firmament, okay, a boundary essentially, isn't it? There's an expanse, right, in between two boundaries, right? And they can be interpreted as waters, that's fine. But the universe itself, generally speaking, has a boundary, right? It's 380 billion light years away or something like that. It's the observable horizon. You can't see beyond it. So it says in the Bible that there is a boundary, essentially, right? And there is an expanse between the boundary and the earth. Do you know what I mean? You can interpret it any number of ways. You certainly can. And you can certainly interpret some of Genesis as being just simply a time-distorted version of evolution. You can certainly interpret. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying you can interpret it that way. Okay? So it's about interpretation. And for somebody to ram it down your throat, right, that you've seen a flat earth and that NASA's lying and creating all this stuff, right, that's false prophecy. That means they're coming from Satan, not Jesus and not God. So it doesn't matter what everybody else believes. This is about you and what you believe, okay? And you need to go and read it again and forget what the other people are saying, right? Because you need to find the truth, okay? Yeah? Not what somebody else has told you. So that's my advice. Thank you very much.